You have felt it, haven't you? The silence, the distance, people slipping away without reason. Doors that once opened easily now locked. Spaces that once felt like home now echo with emptiness. You're not imagining it, and you're not cursed. You're being called. You might think, before transformation begins, the old self must dissolve, not just mentally, but emotionally, energetically, and relationally. The universe doesn't always push you forward with blessings. Sometimes it pulls everything away, so you have no choice but to turn inward. This is not rejection, it's redirection. It's a secret chaos that prepares you to become someone your past couldn't and can't ever recognize. The Bible says, I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten. This verse reminds us that even in the midst of the loss and emptiness, there is hope for restoration and transformation. Phase 1. The isolation begins. The isolation begins when your soul can't pretend anymore. It doesn't start with a dramatic collapse. It begins with a quiet ache, a subtle misalignment, a growing sense that you are playing a role you can't no longer. A growing sense that you're playing a role you can no longer bear to. Conversations feel empty. Relationships feel scripted. The laughter, the scripted. The laughter, the routines, the I'm fine, all begins to crack. The Bible says, cast off the old yeast, so that you may be a new unleavened patch, as you really are. 1 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 7. God encourages us to embrace a new self, just as we are called to shed our old selves and become new. You think the psyche initiates transformation when the false self becomes unbearable. This is the beginning of individualization, the painful birth of the authentic self through the death of persona. Let's get to phase 2. The universe removes everything that was built on a false version of you suddenly. Things start falling apart. The job you once called your dream starts to feel like a cage. The friendships you thought were unbreakable begin to fade. The life you built with such effort feels hollow, foreign, like you're walking through someone else's story. You think what no longer aligns with your truth will start to fall away. Not because you failed, but because you outgrew the illusion. It's painful because these are the structures that gave you a sense of safety. Isaiah 55 verse 8 says, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. Know that God's ways are higher than ours, and sometimes we need to let go of our own understanding and follow His plan, and it never feels right, it never feels good. Phase 3. The void appears. After the noise fades comes the silence, thick, heavy, deafening. There are no more calls, no more invitations, no more distractions to keep your mind occupied. It feels like abandonment, but beneath that feeling, something deeper begins to stir. You would think, in the absence of external identity, we begin to reconnect with the unconscious, the hidden core of the self that only speaks in silence, symbols, and sensations. The Bible says, be still and know that I am God. God knew that in this kind of situation you may feel so frustrated and get outburst, asking yourself and everything that you can look up to why all this is going on with you. But He says, be still and know that I am God. God is in control, even in the midst of the silence and uncertainty. Phase 4. The loneliness. The loneliness forces you to face what you have always avoided. There's a point in the silence when you can no longer distract yourself. There's nowhere left to go, no one left to perform for, no external chaos to drown or to get distractions. But you're going to be faced with the eternal truth. And so you meet yourself, your very own self, not the version the world knows, not the version you carefully curated, not the version you mask, but the raw, unfiltered, unfinished you. You think true healing begins with the confrontation of the shadow. The hidden aspects of yourself begins to come forth. Well, rejected, denial, and you feel like you got buried. The universe in its wisdom isolates you so you can finally stop running, because all along you've been running from who you truly are. John chapter 3 verse 17 says, "For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him." God's love and redemption are available for us as always, even in the midst of the darkness and shadow. Phase 5, the transformation isn't visible. You're going through the darkest night of your life, but the transformation will not be visible. This is not moments of applaud. Even you may think that nothing is going on with you, like no visible result. But deep down, if you continue to behold your raw self, you will know that there's truly a transformation going on. No one claps, no one notices. But deep inside, something is shifting. You feel it in the way you breathe differently, in the way your body no longer tenses in old situations. All true transformation begins in unconscious long before it reaches the surface. What the world calls stagnation, the soul calls initiation into a greater dimension of expression. 2 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 18 says, "And we all, who with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory, are being transformed into his image." Most times transformations is never seen. Do not bother yourself explaining. No one will ever really understand you. This is happening between you and your real self, your authentic self. Put yourself together. It's all a win process. You would never go wrong with what is happening with you. Be grateful and thankful for every process. Thank you for listening. My name is Zoel. Call me the potentialist. If you want to find purpose and manifest your full potential, this is your go-to pages: Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. Blessings to you.